Hello everybody, welcome back to the workshop. So today I wanted to take and talk a little bit about how big of a gas forge do you need. So gas forges, they come in a lot of different sizes. And in this pro tip, I'm going to talk very specifically about the size I use and why I find it effective. So let's get right down to it. This gas forge is made by Mankell Forge Company. It's a great gas forge. I picked this up at a quad state some years ago. About almost 3 years I think I've had this in the shop. I believe it's 2 years. I believe it's just 2 years that I've had it in my shop. But it is a forced air or non-atmospheric, as you will. It has a blower on one end and then it has 3 burners, inlets. And these are 3 gas ports with 3 orifices, 2 of them, that blow in gas down into this burner tube, basically direct in line, and it blows in additional air to support the flame of the burner through this pipe here. Now, what's great about this forge is the fact that it can run at very low PSI on the propane tank. So my tanks generally last me a really long time, as where like the atmospheric burners, you got to really crank up the pressure in the tank, which can cause freezing and frosting and things of that nature. Now you'll still get that with this forge if it's really cold out, but say anything down to roughly freezing or 30 degrees, 32 degrees or so, you're perfectly fine. You'll never notice really any frosting on the tank with this forge. Now, how big of a gas forge do you really need? This gas forge is actually a little bit too big for most people's use. This is for production. I can fit a lot of billets in here at one time, no matter what I'm working on. Say I'm working on a bunch of tongs, tong blanks, I can throw more bars than I can possibly work at one given time in this gas forge. So that's going to highlight a point that I'm going to point out here. You do not need a super huge gas forge. Usually you build a gas forge for the size project. You build a heating chamber that will heat the type of operation that you're going to be doing efficiently without any excess wastage on gas or dragon's breath coming out the front or over oxygenating the piece or having too much dead air space to where it doesn't get hot, right? We want to get it up to forging temp. Sometimes we want to get it up to forge welding temp, and we want it to get there in a reasonable amount of time. It takes this forge forever to heat up to a welding temp. And even at that, I've got bricks here, and I've got to brick in the sides. I've got to block up most of it just to get up to welding heat. That's no fault of the burner system on it. It's just the fact that there's too much free airspace for that heat to go. Heat, air, propane, gas, all that's going to travel the path of least resistance. So if you got big gaping holes here, it's just going to go right out. It's not going to stay and get condensed and piled upon and get even hotter and hotter and hotter. And so therefore there's a lot of free airspace in here. This is not what you would want if you're doing Damascus, or if you're taking and trying to forge weld a bunch of billets together or do a bunch of forge welding. The interior space of this forge is just too big to be done efficiently. Now, say you have a lot of billets, big billets that you're going to be putting together, and you need to bring them all up to welding heat. You can get a large chamber like this, but you're going to crank through the propane and you're going to crank through, dollars and cents. So for most people, you can get away with a minimum interior of about 6 inches in diameter, 6 inches square, like that, of free airspace, and that will take care of most hobbyists. If you're a blade maker and you have knife making pursuits, you can get by with even less. You could get by with something, say, more like 4 to 6 inches, so like a 4x6, or roughly a brick and a half in space, interior space, because your objects are mostly flat. They're flat and pointy and straight and maybe long, but not necessarily tall, right? Okay? As where with ornamental work, the reason why this is open on 3 sides is so this way I can get scrolls, large diameter scrolls, out the front end of this and heat the part that I'm scrolling up and leave the part that's already been scrolled way out here, and it works great. So the minimum size that I say for general blacksmithing work that you need is about a 6-inch square box, if you will. And it needs to be about 8 to 10 inches deep. That can work very well with a single burner. 2 burners is too much for a confined cubic inch space like that. So you may want to go double that if you're going to do a 2-burner, that much volume wise. So this way that space is heated efficiently and you're not wasting gas out the front end of the forge. So the big benefits of having a large, wide open forge like this is you can fit a whole host of products, different pieces in there simultaneously. I could put a couple hammer billets in here. I can throw some tong billets in here. I can throw some artistic bases I'm working on, flower petals, you name it. I could put a bunch of different stuff in here. Like I said, more stuff than I could possibly humanly work at any one given time. And so that is very, very valuable. But if you are not working this thing to its full potential and you're constantly pulling stuff out and constantly working in production mindset and you're just kind of dilly-dallying and you want to just kind of play around with a bit of pieces of something or just kind of toy around with an ideal, this puppy is not your gas forge. It's going to eat you out of house and home. It's going to get very expensive on you very quickly, and therefore that's going to ruin your day when it comes to forging. So that's just some food for thought. Those are my recommendations for you out there, you guys and gals out there, for your gas forges and sizes. And let me know what you thought in the comment section down below. If you found this video helpful, give it a thumbs up. And if you like the channel, consider subscribing, and also check out our website at blacksmithpdfs.com. There'll be a link for that down in the description. We have a lot more resources over there for blacksmiths trying to get into it as a business. Also power hammer plans and all sorts of goodies over there, and that's how we support this channel. We thank you all so much for your continued support and all the love out there. Again, drop us a line, tell us what you thought of the video down in the comment section, and as always, God bless you, and we will catch you on the next one.